afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Automotive JT. So what is it like owning a Jeep Gladiator, daily driving, or just driving a Jeep Gladiator? Well, gotta say, first off, I love mine. I can't imagine not having one. I think there will always be a Jeep Gladiator in my garage or out in front of my house somewhere. There'll always be one. Now, first off, of course, you have the appearance of it. That's what ultimately drew it to me. Not at first. I wasn't a fan when I first saw it, but after my mother had one and I saw it consistently, I thought, yeah, I'm going to have to get one of those because it grew on me. And I really do love the way that it looks. It's unique. There's nothing else like it on the road when it comes to mid-sized trucks. It has its own little niche, if you will. And I think it's awesome. Next up, the driving part. You know, we're driving in it right now. You saw a bit in the beginning. It's not the smoothest thing out there, but it's not the worst either. In a minute, you'll notice we're going to go across a pretty rough road. That'll give you an idea of what it feels like on a road that's not just freshly paved, if you will. But anyway, you do feel some of the bumps. It's not horrible. It's not the worst riding vehicle I've ever had. I mean, let's compare it to a sports car. I'm only talking about ride. Sports cars, you want to feel the road, right? You feel every nook and cranny and every bump. You don't feel that in the Gladiator. I would put it somewhere between probably a modest SUV, not the luxury ones, and just a normal modest car. Again, not the luxury ones where they're trying to dampen everything and make the ride as smooth as possible. So it's really not too bad. You do, of course, make it a little bit worse if you do what a lot of us Gladiator owners do, and that is throw on some bigger, heavier, rougher tires, which I have done. I didn't do anything crazy. I mean, these are, I think, rounded up to 34 or something like that. They are a Falcon Wild Peak, which is my favorite tire, by the way. It gives you a good combination of all-weather performance as well as a smooth enough ride so that you're not being beaten up all over the place. But it is pretty good as far as that's concerned. It's comfortable on the inside. I never sit in here and think, gee, I can't get comfortable. I'm constantly moving the seats. Here's that rougher road, by the way. So I don't have any issues with it that way either. Everything is ergonomically in the right spot. The radio is simple to use. The gauge cluster is easy to read. All good stuff. Fuel economy wise, yeah, it is a bit lacking. In mine right now, let's see if I can find it on the screen here as I'm driving. I always mix up the screen because you can change it around a little bit, right? So I always do that, and then when I want to find it, I can't find it. Anyway, I'm getting about 15.7, 15.8, pushing 16 miles per gallon. It is not the most fuel efficient ride out there. You know, Jeep's talking about putting out some sort of an all hybrid, I think the 4xe or something like that. I believe it'll be next year. I don't know that I would want that in a Jeep Gladiator. I know some people are excited about it. It's not really my thing. But it is a truck. I didn't expect it to be a hypermiler when I bought it, so I don't really have any big issues with it. And honestly, when I get concerned about fuel economy, I flip on over to my Honda. It gets about 31 miles per gallon. So, you know, it all depends on what you want to drive. That I also have a channel for, by the way. It's Mod Driven, if you want to check that out. As far as the cost, yeah, they're going up. I did a video recently, went over the cost, the starting cost, the base cost, if you will, of the different trim levels of the Gladiator. You can't get into one unless you get something really stripped down, and I haven't seen one, for less than 40 grand. 40 grand for a Jeep. And then, of course, if you go up into the higher trim levels, the Rubicon, the Mojave, the granddaddy of them all, the high altitude, you're going to be pushing probably 60 grand, particularly if you add a bunch of stuff to it or if the dealership adds a bunch of stuff to it. So they're certainly not cheap. Off-roading. I'm not a big off-roader. You know, this isn't really an off-road, well, it's not an off-road channel. There's plenty of those out there. It's certainly capable. I've seen many Gladiators off-road, videos and stuff. If you're into that, you surely know what I'm talking about. Very capable truck. I would put it right up there with the Tacomas of the world as far as off-road capability in a truck. We all know the Jeep Wrangler is the king of all of that. So it's capable in that way as well. Now, of course, the biggest thing about this is the bed. It's a Gladiator, right? It's a truck. It gives you that versatility. You have the rear seats, which, by the way, there's plenty of room in. I've ridden in the back seat of the Jeep Gladiator many times myself. The only ding, I guess I would give it, is it's a little tight on entry and exit. The doorway back there, the opening. Other than that, once you get in, it's perfectly comfortable. If you have little kids, you shouldn't have any issue with it. You can put car seats and things back there, no issues like that. But back to the bed, it gives you that versatility to be able to throw the dirty bits and stuff in the back, whip a tonneau cover on there, and you've got some good secure storage. Although not watertight, I've done a few videos about that. I have a Rough Country Hard tri-fold tonneau cover on mine, and while I do like it more for the security of it, it certainly doesn't give me any real waterproof storage or protection. I think I've got it narrowed down a little bit. I know where it's leaking, but best one out there, by the way, I'll add, because I've had it myself before, is the Tiger tonneau cover for the Jeep. That one I think is the best one out there. I've had them before, as I mentioned, and I did not have any leaks. And funny, it is one of the cheapest ones you can get as well. So kudos to Tiger for putting out a tonneau cover that actually gives you some waterproof security. Anyway, I just wanted to get on here, talk about that a little bit. There's one other thing I'll mention you may or may not have noticed as we're driving around. It's not the quietest ride out there, and I know there are a lot of noise-sensitive folks that have complained about the Jeep Gladiator. Mine's a little louder. You can probably hear it in the background a little bit there. That's because I have an air raid cold air intake on it. It's a louder intake. Gives me that throaty, more guttural sound that I want from under the hood. Yours would not be quite as loud as this one if you just leave it stock. Wind noise, yeah, you can hear it in the background. Partially the tires, I'm sure, too. But it is basically a big box or rectangle on wheels, so you are going to get a lot of more wind noise. I'm not going to say a lot, but you're going to get more wind noise. You get a lot more if you have, say, a Jeep Wrangler soft top. Those things are very noisy. My wife has one. You can always hear the wind and the soft top slapping against the roll bars and the supports on the top. I mean, it drives you nuts if you're sensitive to that kind of thing. Would I recommend it? Absolutely. If you're in the mid-size market, there's really only two trucks I would buy and have bought, and that is the Jeep Gladiator and the Toyota Tacoma. I think the Toyota Tacoma has the advantage because of its reliability. Let's be honest, the Jeep Gladiator does have its quirks. That's the final thing I'll mention. Just be prepared. You're probably going to have some quirky things, the radio black screen, the auto stop not working, malfunction message you'll get. You might even get a check engine light or something crazy. I've had them all. Anyway, I just wanted to get on here, kind of share that a little bit. I get questions once in a while. What's it like? Is it any good? Is it reliable? You having problems? So that's what I think of it. I would highly recommend it. I think it's awesome. Leave a comment. Let me know if you're in the market, you're looking. Are you considering a Jeep Gladiator? Do you already have one? I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. Mod Driven, as I mentioned, all about the Honda Civic, and Rob Motive, all about that Toyota Tacoma. Check them out, and if you're interested, why not subscribe? And while you're at it, smash the subscribe button here too. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.